On the cold winter nights, deep in the vastness of the Eastern Front, a rather unusual fear spread through the bones of German soldiers. These battle-hardened soldiers have stared death in the face, but the enemy they fear is not an ordinary one. A rumor says that they are supernatural beings who cannot be seen or heard. They come from the skies, unleash their deadly cargo, and disappear into the night. They are like ghosts, the phantoms. They are the Night Witches, extraordinary airwomen of the Soviet Red Army. An image of a woman in Soviet uniform was commonplace in the Eastern Front of World War II. During the war, the Red Army witnessed the enlistment of approximately 800,000 women, nearly half serving directly on the front lines. In contrast to the prevailing societal norms of that time, which emphasized a woman's maternal role, these female combatants represented a broader societal push for women within the communist ideology that governed the Soviet Union. However, it was primarily the surge of nationalism during the wartime period that prompted Soviet women to decide to enlist. For most, it was a genuine sense of duty towards their homeland that motivated them to join the ranks. Unlike other armies, female soldiers in the Red Army played a significant role in securing victory during the war. Many of these women underwent comprehensive combat training, gaining expertise in a range of weapons from mortars to machine guns, and taking on roles as demanding as operating anti-aircraft guns. Amid women's expanding roles during the war, a group of trailblazing females became intrigued with the role of flying combat planes. Before the war, there were several youth organizations within the Soviet Union dedicated to fostering military skills, including those of the Aviators. One of the most prominent was the Osovyaki, initiated in 1927. By 1935, this society had nurtured over 150 air clubs, offering unique training opportunities for both men and women captivated by aviation. While these organizations officially supported such endeavors, the journey of female pilots was not without its challenges. Many young women eager to fly faced resistance, as the prevailing notion was that aviation is not a woman's affair. Despite these obstacles, the Soviet Union ultimately emerged as the first nation to allow women in combat flying roles. Arguably the pivotal figure in achieving this momentous milestone was Marina Roskova, a pioneering icon in Soviet aviation. In her early years, Roskova aspired to become an opera singer, but redirected her path after falling ill at 15. Pursuing academic interests, she delved into studies encompassing chemistry, engineering, and navigation, ultimately becoming the first woman to attain a professional USSR air navigator diploma in 1934. Merely a year after acquiring her navigator's diploma, she obtained her pilot's license. By 1935, she embarked on her inaugural solo flight. And by 1938, she had established numerous world records for long-distance non-stop flights. Among her most remarkable accomplishments was a 6,000-kilometer journey from Moscow to the Soviet Far East in an aircraft named Rodina. Accompanied by co-pilots Valentina Gritsodubova and Polina Usipenko, this marathon flight lasted 26 hours and 29 minutes. For their exceptional achievements, all three were granted the title of Hero of the Soviet Union, marking the first instance of such an honor being bestowed upon women. Beyond her celebrated contributions to aviation, Roskova was deeply intertwined with Soviet society and governance, even enjoying a personal acquaintance with Stalin. Her influence and legacy were pivotal in inspiring women's involvement in aviation. Amid the German invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, a surge of young women eager to contribute flooded Marina Roskova with letters, seeking to apply their flight skills for their country's defense. Roskova, leveraging her reputation and connection with Joseph Stalin, successfully advocated for all-female aviation regiments. By October 1941, the 122nd Composite Air Group was formed, which eventually split into three regiments: the 586th Fighter Aviation Regiment, the 587th Day Bomber Aviation Regiment, and the 588th Night Bomber Aviation Regiment. Selection criteria for candidates under Roskova's high standards were stringent. Aspirants were categorized into pilots, navigators, mechanics, and armorers, with pilot positions demanding a minimum of 500 hours of flight training. Roskova personally handpicked roughly 400 young women per regiment from thousands of enlistees. primarily university students aged 17 to 26. These recruits converged on the small town of Engels for intensive training. Usually spanning years, training was condensed into months due to the situation's urgency. They were outfitted with oversized men's military uniforms, reflecting the Air Force's underpreparedness for female recruits. Although they underwent a drastic transformation, with many cutting their hair short to resemble male soldiers, Roscova ensured that they retained some elements of their femininity, a symbolic balance between their roles as soldiers and women. They used navigation pencils as makeshift lipstick and adorned their planes with floral patterns. At the same time, Roscova instilled a formidable spirit, preparing them for the rigors of frontline conditions. Post-training, the most skilled pilots were inducted into the 586th Fighter Aviation Regiment, the next year to the 587th Bomber Aviation Regiment. And the ones deemed the least qualified, quote-unquote, were assigned to the 588th. However, as fate would have it, this least qualified group became one of the conflict's most celebrated and feared regiments. They became the notorious Night Witches. From pilots to navigators, from ground crews to support staff, every member of the 588th was a woman. This fact itself made the regiment unique, but their feats on the battlefield were what truly set them apart. These aviators were entrusted with executing night missions, targeting railways, bridges, supply depots, fortified troop positions, and even those brimming with anti-aircraft guns. Their goal was to destabilize the German front line and disrupt the Nazis' rest, ensuring that they remained in a constant state of stress and alertness. To achieve this, the Night Witches were equipped with Polikarpov U-2 biplanes, commonly referred to as PO-2s. Originally intended for training, the aircraft was designed in 1928, and by World War II, they were considered outdated. Described by some Night Witches as a coffin with wings. The PO-2 was constructed from plywood with a canvas overlay. For the night bombing missions, aircraft were retrofitted with bomb racks carrying up to 660 pounds of bombs, a light machine gun in the rear cockpit, and noise and flare mufflers to ensure stealth during flight. Despite their rudimentary design and the fact that they were not originally combat planes, these biplanes had surprising advantages. Their lightweight and rudimentary construction provided maneuverability superior to German aircraft, making them challenging to target. The PO-2's top speed was slower than German fighter planes' stall speeds, complicating aerial engagements for the enemy. Additionally, their composition rendered them nearly invisible to German radars. These aircraft could also take off and land in diverse terrains, essential for a unit that relocated frequently to stay close to enemy lines. Despite the plane's shortcomings and relying only on essential tools, including maps, compasses, and flashlights, the Night Witches effectively used PO-2s to terrorize German troops, thanks to their cunning and innovative tactics. In a scheme designed by the Night Witches, 3 planes would fly in formation. As they approached a target, 2 would draw the attention of German defenses, veering off to divert searchlights and anti-aircraft fire. Meanwhile, the third pilot would advance towards the target with his engine off. With precision, the navigator would release the bombs, and the pilot would swiftly restart the engine, departing the scene. This pattern would repeat, ensuring all planes dropped their payloads before returning to base for replenishment. The Night Witches operated under a perpetual cycle of bombing, refueling, and immediate redeployment, each sortie lasting 30 to 50 minutes, due to their aircraft's limited capacity, carrying only 2 bombs. They embarked on multiple sorties per night, ranging from 8 to 18. This tactic ensured that Germans never felt safe, since they had no effective defense against it. They could neither see nor hear the enemy approaching. Amidst complete darkness, the sole indicator of the impending attack was the faint whooshing sound, as wind coursed through the wing struts. This eerie noise reminded the terrified German soldiers of witches flying on broomsticks. So it was them who started calling them Nachthexen, or Night Witches. Even though it is a title bestowed by the German soldiers and derogatory, the Night Witches took it with pride, as it evoked an image of a fearsome force that strikes under the cloak of night. The notoriety of the Night Witches evolved as the war progressed, with many legends enveloping them. One claimed that the Night Witches had supernatural abilities, such as night vision induced by special injections. These rumors, undoubtedly a mix of fear and admiration, added to the aura of mystery around these daring women. Their efficiency and elusiveness were such that the Nazis instituted a policy to automatically confer the prestigious Iron Cross Medal on any airman who shot down one of these elusive bombers. But the skies were not always their friend. Enemy searchlights frequently caught them, leading to harrowing episodes. Nina Respopova, one of the Night Witches, witnessed how she found herself in the airplane ensnared by a searchlight, which resulted in a torrent of anti-aircraft fire. With her aircraft critically damaged and fuel leaking, she undertook an audacious landing, only to discover large splinters embedded in her body. This story wasn't an anomaly, but a testament to the threats that loomed on every mission. Bullets riddled their planes, with some pilots like Nadezhda Popova, the commander of the 588th, even counting up to 42 bullet holes on returning from a sortie. Despite the grueling nature of their operations, the Night Witches were unyielding in their determination. Beginning their operational sorties on June 8, 1942, they harassed Nazi forces with their relentless night bombings until the very end of the war. At its zenith, the regiment boasted as many as 42 person crews, each executing multiple bombing runs the moment dusk set in. The unit carried out an astounding 23,672 combat sorties, releasing a deadly payload of over 3,000 tons of bombs and 26,000 incendiary shells. Recognizing the sheer impact and effectiveness of the 588th Regiment, they were honored with the prestigious Guards designation in February of 1943. Following this, they were restructured as the 46th Guards Night Bomber Aviation Regiment under the 325th Night Bomber Aviation Division, 4th Air Army, 2nd Belarusian Front. A few months later, in October of 1943, their name was augmented to the 46th Taman Guards Night Bomber Aviation Regiment, acknowledging their pivotal role in the operations on the Taman Peninsula during 1943. All that time, however, the Night Witches, Soviet female bomber pilots, not only faced enemy fire, but also gender biases from their own ranks. For them, there was an inherent, unspoken expectation to constantly validate their skills and commitment both to their male comrades and to their country. Despite being perceived as less valuable and by extension expendable, the Night Witches showed remarkable resilience. They refused any help in the form of male soldiers to manage heavy work, confident that they were perfectly capable of handling challenges on their own. Despite the adversity, their resilience shone through. Over time, owing to their exceptional performance, many of the male peers grew to respect the Night Witches, and indeed, they had every reason to. Their endeavors led the 46th Regiment to become the most highly decorated female unit in the Soviet Air Force. By the war's conclusion, many of its pilots accomplished the remarkable feat of over 800 missions. The enormity of their sacrifice and courage is further underscored by the fact that of the 89 Soviet women who received the country's topmost honor, the hero of the Soviet Union, 22 were Night Witches. However, the post-war period unveiled a paradoxical narrative. Despite commendable wartime achievements, the Night Witches faced unexpected challenges during the demobilization in May of 1945. The societal structures and gender norms, which had been temporarily suspended owing to the difficulties of the war, rapidly reasserted themselves. These accomplished pilots and navigators were swiftly demobilized and discharged from service. The Night Witches were ushered to return to their homes, commence families, and embrace the roles of wives, mothers, and laborers. But perhaps the most glaring omission of their contribution came when the Night Witches were excluded from the Grand Victory Parade. The very planes that had silently terrorized the German military were deemed too slow for a showcase of Soviet prowess. Obeying the commands, as they did during the war, the Night Witches went on with their lives and their new roles. But their legacy lived on, distinct and unparalleled. The Night Witches were not just female pilots, they were trailblazers, tearing down the barriers of gender norms and societal expectations. While they may have been absent from victory parades and official celebrations, their indomitable spirit soared above these very omissions. Today, as we remember the sacrifices and valor of all who served, the tales of the Night Witches serve as an enduring reminder. Bravery knows no gender, and true heroes can emerge from the most unexpected of places. Thank you for watching our video, and if you want to see more, please like and subscribe to the Militology Channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified of our newest videos. Thank you.